Hey guys, welcome back. Mark, do you ever get the sense that when you're having a conversation with somebody, there's something else going on? Either they're upset or they're upset with you, or there's just
What are
something...
you talking about?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yes, absolutely. And distracted. When you're having a conversation and you know you're talking directly to them, yet they are looking right over your head because they are thinking about something that happened 2 hours ago.
Yeah, or they blow up at you and they're getting upset at you, and you're like, what did I do? Did I say something wrong? What did I do?
Absolutely. And that happens every day, all day long. Because we all are coming to the conversation or whatever it is with a perspective and with baggage. We'll use baggage of what happened, what it has inspired in our world in the last, 24, 48 hours. I mean, we're holding that stuff pretty tight.
Right. And there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I'm sure you didn't spill coffee on your leg before you came in here that just really upset you. And therefore, you came in with a little bit different attitude than you would have had you not done that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just got a new puppy, and I didn't just have to clean up after the puppy 4 times before I walked in the door today.
Right.
It's a different perspective.
Right. But the person you're talking to did not know that.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's what we want to talk about today, kind of, guys, is in real estate, we're conversating with people all the time, whether it be our clients, other real estate agents, people in the business. Through this transaction, we are always conversating, and we only know what's on the tip of the other person. We don't know what's going on behind, and we hear so many times of deals falling through. Oh, I can't stand this person because X, Y, or Z. And I just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention.
Absolutely. Not sure if you watch, but new show. I say new show. It has a second season out there. Ted Lasso is a phenomenal show. If you guys haven't taken a second to watch it, I encourage you to. But in one of the episodes in there, he goes into a big, deep monologue, and we're going to link that in the show notes. It is the Dart Game episode. And in there, he says, be curious, not judgmental. Okay? It's, 4 words, 4 very deep words. And if you can go through conversations being curious about why they are delivering to you or why you are perceiving a delivery of whatever it may be, you're going to get more out of that conversation than if you just make a snap judgment and then move on to the next subject. Because had you asked 3, 4, 5 more questions, you could have peeled back this onion that changed the entire conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. I would add to that just being graceful, understanding, that there is other layers of the onion to peel back. Sometimes it may be something super personal that you're not going to get, but just being graceful and understanding, hey, there may be something else going on. Now, what I don't want to do, because there are jacklegs out there. You're going to run into them. It is what it is, and you just move on. But at the end of the day, just being graceful through the whole process just adds so much.
Absolutely. It's in our world, we are dealing with one of the most stressful events that one can go through. Selling their personal home, packing all of their belongings, moving to a new home, unpacking all their belongings, and getting back to life. It is literally one of the most stressful events a person can go through. And you can imagine how many things can go wrong in the best of times that could cause someone to their attitude and their look on things to be a little negative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I was listening. I was having a conversation with a agent in our office the other day, and the phone rings, and she picks up the phone, and it's the other agent on the line from a transaction she's having. And I'm gonna tell you, I sat there and watched her, and I was like, "Is anything going on?" Because she wasn't saying a word. It went on for like 10 minutes, and then this person just and just kept on and on and on, and was just very spastic through the whole thing. Anyway, to get to the point of it, it was, this is all wrong. This is all wrong. My clients are upset. I'm upset. Da 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 da.
Sure.
And there was so much around this. Now, what could have happened is the agent here that I was talking to could have come back and defended herself and been more offensive on the conversation, and that probably would have led to that deal dying.
Yeah.
Okay? But there was much more grace put in there. There was much more understanding, and there was much more, you know what? Why don't we talk about this in 15 minutes? Because sometimes it just takes a little bit of time to work out kinks.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, do you want to be right or do you want to be liked? Sometimes you have to take a step back, and as right and as much as you did everything exactly the way you were supposed to, sometimes you don't need to go to the depths to defend what you did. Sometimes you just need to stop and listen, because what was right for you might not have been right for the other person because they have a different perspective.
Yeah, and that's what this is all about, is perspective and where you're sitting in the conversation, and really just thinking about the other person. Whose shoes are you wearing? We just have selfish natures. We're just selfish. That's just how human nature is. But it is good for everything, the deal, your business, relationships, everything. If you step out of your shoes for a second and try to understand the perspective of the person you're dealing or conversating with.
If you can build that into your daily life, it's going to be life-changing. Mm-hmm. Stresses come down. We live in a stress-filled world that every single aspect of life is an added stress. While it seems very simple, it's extremely difficult. It's extremely difficult because, as you said, walk in today and I am in fantastic mood, and I can, yes, absolutely, I'm going to hear the other side. And tomorrow I stub my toe with my flip-flops on. Doing it during that type of situation is very difficult. Mm-hmm. I mean, it really takes some some change, some guttural change in yourself.
And you almost have to. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, if you're the person having the issue that day, it's going to be hard for you to get in someone else's shoes. However, we tend to have more good days than we have bad days.
Yeah.
So when you are having those days, you need to think about that. And hopefully the people you're talking with are going to be as graceful like that to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Brian, talk to us, when we're talking about being in someone else's shoes, let's just, let's make sure that we all understand in this business, everybody has, as you said before, a selfish need. And selfish, I'm going to use this term not in the negative sense, but everybody has what's going on in their world. And in a real estate transaction, you have two people buying and selling. A buyer has needs, a seller has needs, and what's good for the buyer may not be good for the seller. And then you add on, you bolt on around that the folks that are helping get this deal done. You have a home inspector whose job it is to literally go into a house and make sure that everything is not is in working order. Mm-hmm. More importantly, their job is to uncover items that were not known, whether they were covered up or whether they were just not known. So their sole job is to inject what could be perceived as a negative into a transaction. And it's super important that, for everybody to see that everybody has a reason for being there. And the goal is just to get the transaction done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. We've talked a little. One of the newer things that I've been kind of focusing on, and you and I have talked a little bit about this, is speed bumps or roadblocks. Whenever you're trying to get somewhere, you're always going to have roadblocks, right? But if you put up gates yourself, then you're not going to be able to get through. So like you're talking about that inspector, if something comes up, there's an issue. If you really if it's not just something that's totally blown it completely out of the water, you can get through anything. There's always going to be roadblocks. There's always going to be things that maybe you got to pivot a little bit to get over, but you can get there versus throwing up your hands and going, I don't know how we're going to do this.
Or it's your fault.
Yes.
It's your client's fault that
Yes.
we are having this issue.
Right.
How dare you?
Yep.
That's that attitude and that line of speaking does not get you to where you want to be, which is at the end of the day, our goal as real estate brokers is to broker deals. And broker deals means we help people buy and sell. And when you interject that type of line of thinking, it does not help you get to the finish line. It actually prohibits you from getting there a lot of times. It's super important that when we're talking about, our whole podcast is all about raising real estate standards, right? That's what we're here for. That's our goal. Guys, raising your standards and being a true professional requires you to take yourself out of the situation. Take your the negatives that have happened to you and not pile them on top of someone who's already stressed. You said most of the time we have more good days than bad days. I agree wholeheartedly. And in the good days, our goal is to shine sunlight in some dark areas and help people get from point of view. But sometimes we do have bad days. So important that we do not interject our bad situations, our negativity into an already stressful event. Raise your standards, pull yourself out, and become the professional.
Yeah, absolutely. There's already enough stress and emotion in this transaction for you as an agent to include your own in it. It's probably not the best thing. I agree.
No, and at the end of the day, we all want to feel like it feels good for us to say we fought for our client's best interest. We went to the ground and just made it happen for them. And at the end of the day, that may sound good, but in essence, going into a fight is not what we're doing. We're going into solving problems and being a solution provider.
Yeah, I'd argue that I may say something that's going to upset somebody, but I would argue that really shows a maturation in a real estate agent's business, is the ability to do that. Because I know agents that have been in the business for 30 years that don't know how to do that. But I also know agents that have been in it for 2 to 3 years that are fantastic at it. And it's that maturation of their business that allows them to do that.
I would also add to that, it prohibits what could be a really good agent from doubling their business.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, not just a matter of going and get the business, being able to service the business. If you had to service 10 clients at one time, and you had the aspect and the mindset of I'm going to go to fight in every situation, you're not going to get through the day. Mm-hmm. If you go into it with shining positivity and being a solution provider, you can literally pivot from client to client to client and be able to still provide that level of service. And I really do think it is a limiting behavior on the negative side.
Oh yeah, and I would say it's a slow death to your business. Something that I learned early on was there's only so many partners out there, meaning there's only so many people you're going to be able to work in a transaction with, and if you're the butthole, people don't want to work with you. And as you continue down that path, you're going to end up finding out that people just you've gone through everybody, you've blown through everybody, and it's that slow death of your business.
Absolutely. So, and it's not about the clients. It's not about the consumer that we're working with. It's about your partners, your home inspectors, your contractors, your plumbers, your the attorneys that you're working with. It's everybody. Those are limiting people. There's only so many of them in the market that you're working in. And if you, like you said, if you piss them off, they're not going to want to do business. They may do business with. They're going to make it a lot harder on you.
Yeah.
They're going to make it extremely hard on you, which is going to what? It's going to limit your ability to grow your business, because it is important to have those advocates on your side to help get the deal done.
Absolutely. So today, when you're out there, try to take someone else's perspective at hand when you're having a conversation with them. Before it gets off kilter, try to focus on the person that's you're conversating with, and, try to understand where they're coming from.
Awesome. Guys, again, thank you for tuning in to us today. Give us a like and a thumbs up. Subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. And also in the show notes, you will see a link to that quick Ted Lasso video that really highlights this. And I encourage you guys to watch it. It's uplifting in a time where there's not a lot of uplifting media content and stuff out there. It's a great, great show. Guys, take care.